This is the new Renault Scenic, and it's a little bit like the TGV-M. That is France's bullet train. They are both more eco-friendly than their predecessors. Well, this one clearly is because it's now EV only. There's no ICE version of the Scenic anymore. Also, more of it is recyclable than ever before. It's also more spacious than before. But is it better than before? Well, we're going to find out, because I'm going to talk you around the exterior. For some reason, someone's drawn a cock on this car. I'm going to show you the interior. A little bit hard on my old funny bone. I'm going to see how practical it is. Really is quite large. I'm also going to tell you what's good about it. Today we're going to look through the round window. What's not so good about it, I'm going to take it for a drive. You know, you like that. And yes, I'm going to launch it to see how quick it is from 0 to 60 miles an hour. I'm Matt Watson, you're watching CarWow. Let's start this video by talking about the design of the new Renault Scenic. So in the past, the vehicle was an MPV, a people carrier. However, it's now become more boxy, so it's more SUV-like. Now the rear end, it's quite attractive, apart from these bits here. I know they're designed for aero, but it's sort of as like the car's got love handles. Anyway, let's move round to the side. Alloy wheels start at 19 inches and rise to 20. You've got flush door handles. You have chromy bits on this particular car. This is the range topper, the Iconic. The entry-level car, the Techno, also has like chromy bits, but the mid-spec Esprit Alpine, which is supposed to be a bit more sporty, has black bits instead of chrome. Do you know what? There's something about this car that reminds me of the old Renault Avantime. I love that car, it's so cool. Though, for some reason, someone's drawn a cock on this car. There they have, look, there. It's a cock. Anyway, let's move on quickly to the front. So I do like the design of the front here, the thin headlamps, the daytime running lights. This is what they look like illuminated, and here's the rear lights as well. The grille design sort of has like Renault badge shaped indentations in it, and then you've got the big Renault badge there, and behind there is the radar sensor for the auto cruise and all that kind of stuff, which is nice that they've hidden it. You don't have a separate panel for it. Very clever. So starting price, it's not too bad for an electric car. Let's go on to CarWow and find out exactly how much it starts from. £37,000 rising to £45,000 for this range shopping version, though you can save £4,800 on it through CarWow. Oh yeah. Want to sell your car quickly, easily, and for a fair price? Then head to CarWow to have over 4,000 trusted dealers ready to bid on it in an online auction. First, enter your car's registration to get an instant approximate valuation. Then, if you want to proceed, give us some more details and upload some photos, and we'll help you set a fair reserve price for your car. That's the minimum amount you'd be happy to sell it for. Once you've done that, we'll enter your car into an online auction. When the auction's over, we'll let you know the result, and the dealer with the winning bid will be in touch to arrange easy payment and free collection of your car. 93% of sellers surveyed said they got the price they expected or more through CarWow. The best bit is, it's completely free! I put a link in the description of this video and the pinned comment to take you directly to CarWow, where over 4,000 dealers are ready to bid on your car. Or you can just click on the pop-out banner that should be appearing in the top right-hand corner of the screen now. Alternatively, just Google "Help Me CarWow" and we will help you sell your car quickly, easily, and for a fair price. On with the video. Welcome to the inside of the new Renault Scenic. The dash design, well, this pod here, sort of reminds me a little bit of the new Toyota GR Yaris. Maybe that kind of rally race car kind of inspired interior. It seems to like be something similar in here, though obviously this is all screens. So let's talk about this main infotainment screen. Pretty big, portrait style, which has sort of gone out of fashion, to tell you the truth. And I do have an issue with it being quite low down, so when you're driving, you're like looking down there. However, it's fairly responsive, it's easy to navigate through, runs Google, so it's all super simple and very logically laid out. And I like the fact that you have separate controls for the climate, so you can quickly alter temperatures and stuff like that. And if you want to do the seats, it's just a button down here, and the steering wheel. Obviously, this being the top spec car, it's got everything fitted to it. Then you've got this other screen here for all your driving information, and you've got buttons on the steering wheel like this. Look, see them there? Look, I can then swipe through the different menus like that, and there's lots of different views and all that kind of goodness. Well, I'm looking at the steering wheel. It feels quite nice. And then we have this button here which says multi-sense. Should say nonsense, because it's actually the driving modes. Why multi-sense? What's it got to do with sensing? Then you can just quickly toggle through your different driving modes, and it does actually include an ability to go into your own personal settings like that, so you can set up the car exactly as you want it, like a Porsche. So in terms of the interior design, I do quite like this bit here. I like the materials here and in the headlining. It's kind of cool. And it looks really nice, and some of it feels really nice, then some of it feels not so nice. Not so nice. And I don't like the fact that this is hard plastic, because I don't know about you, but I like to drive my elbow on there, and that's just a little bit hard on my old funny bone. Also, some of it feels a bit like this as well, look. It's not damped at all, that. Anyway, that brings me on to storage. While we're under here, look, got some storage there. Also, this little kind of recessed area here, you can slide this forwards and backwards, and you've got 2 USB-Cs down here. Let's move you down here. Look, there we go, the place for the key. It's a cheap feeling key, that, isn't it? It's a cheap feeling key. They've been doing that key for ages, Renault. Need to update that. Right, cup holder. It's actually quite a decent size, so you can fit a large bottle in there. But if you look down in this space here, you've got these dividers, so you can divvy that space up just as you want. Then on here, we have wireless charging pad for your mobile phone. Slide that in there like that. I think if you accelerate hard, that might slide out. Maybe not, it's got a little ledge there to prevent that happening. Let's move on to the glove box. It's an okay size, it's not terrible. The door bins are big, and look, if you look in there, they're lined with felt so things don't rattle about in there. I'm going to just whack this big bottle in. And the seating position, well, this one's got the electric seats. There's quite a lot of adjustment, and there's loads of headroom in the front, so if you're short, you can really like sit up quite high, like that. And plenty of movement in the steering wheel as well, look at that. That is all good stuff. Let's just check this out. Yes, decent sized vanity mirror. And it's illuminated. There's something I want to show you up here, but I'm going to save that for later because it's quite exciting. Overall, on the inside, it's pretty nice, quite interesting, and I do quite like the interior colours and the material on these seats. However, the seats aren't perfect, and I'll explain more about that a bit later on. Here in the back seats, this Scenic feels very spacious. I mean, just look how much knee room I have. This seat is in my normal driving position. So that is really good. Also, it's got a completely flat floor. And yes, there are the batteries under here. So the seat base is quite close to the floor. So your knees are a little bit kind of elevated. But there's so much foot space that you really can just get yourself nice and comfy. And the seats back here are comfy. Headroom's good as well. Look, that's because while I've got the panoramic roof, there is no sunblind for it. And more on that later. If you need to carry 3 in the back at once, while this middle seat is pretty good in terms of squidgy softness, and there's plenty of foot space for everyone, it's not the widest car, so with 3 adults in the back, you do struggle for shoulder space. When it comes to fitting a child seat though, that is super easy. So the ISOFIX anchor points are easy to get to. The doors open very, very wide as well. There's lots of room to get stuff in, and you don't have to move the front passenger seat forward because there's so much room back here. That is all very, very good. But you probably just noticed one thing. The doors are huge, so they can be a bit of a pain to open in tight spaces. But the flip side is you get these great big rear windows. So you know I mentioned the train in the intro. It's a bit like being on a train looking out a train's window because this window's so huge. It's just a shame the windows don't go all the way down. Damn. Quality back here, well, you got hard door tops again, like in the front, but look, we've got ambient light in here, and practicality is good as well. So door bins, once again, lined with felt in the rear. Can I fit that in? Go on, yes. And then we have a pocket there and 2 pockets here, so for your mobile phones. And you got your USB-C charging ports there as well. And of course, if I just pull this, you'll see, there is the option of through loading, and look how wide this space is. That's wider than on most cars. That's really, really good if you need to carry longer items, or you're going skiing and you need to actually take a snowboarder with you and they've got a big board. You fit a snowboard through there, not just skis. Now let's check out the boot on the new Scenic, and it's got gesture control, so you can open it by doing that, which is kind of cool, isn't it? Anyway, the capacity is 545 litres. What does that mean to you? Well, it means there's plenty of space, as you can see. Though, while it is sort of pretty decent, Skoda Enyaq has a slightly bigger boot, about 10% bigger. And if you want to see my full in-depth video review of that car, click on the pop-out banner up there or follow the QR code appearing on the screen right now. Now, if you look in here, you'll see there's a bit of a lip to lift stuff over, which is a bit annoying when you've got heavy items such as this, but at least the boot is nice and square, and you do have some features such as like hooks to hand things off, 12-volt socket, and underneath here you have a deeper storage area. Now this is included in the 545 litres, and it's there for your charging cables, but we'll just get those out because I'll show you how big that space is. Look, I mean, you'll see. See, this really is quite large. I mean, I don't know why I'm illustrating it with my body. What's more useful is to illustrate it with this case. So if you've got something expensive like camera gear, you could potentially hide it away in here. That'll fool the thieves, won't it? They'll never think to look in there. Speaking of fooling people, obviously didn't really have gesture control. We've got James with the key. Anyhow, let's fold down the seats to see what it's like when you do that. Pretty annoying because if you want to slide things to the front, you're gonna have to work them. Oh, it's really annoying when things are heavy like this, like that. Speaking of which, obviously if that bit's full, you're gonna store these cables under the front boot. You know, being an electric car, you got a front boot because there's no internal combustion engine here at the front, which is all good stuff. So here's the big front boot. Look at that. Look at that. Perfect. It's not ideal. Yeah, if you want an electric car with a front boot, you probably want to check out a Tesla Model Y. And you can do that by clicking on the pop-out banner up there, following the QR code somewhere about the screen. Anyhow, that brings me on to 5 annoying things about the new Renault Scenic. There we go. While I like to have the gear select switch here on the steering column, the one on this particular car is a little bit too high up, so you have to stretch your fingers a bit. There's a reason they've had to locate it like that, and that's because there's 2 other stalks on this side. It's a little bit stalk heavy. Reason being that Renault is still insisting on putting the volume controls on a separate little stalk here on the steering column, rather than having it on the steering wheel like everyone else manages to do. As a result, you sometimes get caught up all in the stalks. I know electric cars have to have poppy outed door handles because obviously when they're in, you've got flush bodywork for added aero, better efficiency. And on this car, when you press unlock, they pop out, and the design of the handles makes them quite easy to operate. The problem is that sometimes, let's say you've opened the car, keys inside, these handles will go in a second. Or let's say you've been driving and you pull up to let someone in. Just bear with me, we're gonna wait. It's a good job we're not in a rush.
Many minutes later. 346 minutes later. Many hours later.
Got bored of waiting. Anyway, they go like this. And so, to open it, you then have to press your finger in there and then get that bit out, because there's a little recess bit, and then open it. And I just think that's a bit. The rear seat belts don't have a separate runner, so when you fold down the seats, they snag. Now, I'm going to illustrate that to you now, but first I have to fold down the seats, and I just don't like the way you have to do it, because rather than having like a lever like on most cars, instead you've got this fabric tab which you have to pull. It's a bit of a faff to get your fingers into it. There we go. That illustrates my point. And often what happens is that thing goes like that, and then it gets snagged like that, and then you've got to unlock it. Oh, there we go. The load cover won't fit underneath the false floor, as James will illustrate now. So go ahead, James. It's a particular peeve of James, not just me, you know. He doesn't like that at all. If you come around here so that the camera can see James. So what's stopping that? What's the problem?
You've got this divider.
Shall we remove the divider?
Yeah, I think so.
So if I put my hand there, can you get the divider out? Go on, take it out. Now, shall we see if it fits? So what's going on now, James? What are you experiencing?
So you don't have a proper floor anymore.
So you're not convinced by that, are you, James? So do you want to yeet the things?
I think so, yeah.
You just broke that. Sorry, Renault, we'll buy a new one. You need to yeet that as well, though.
Right.
You're not done yeeting. Don't throw it on the same things again.
No.
Throw it somewhere else. That's it. There is no wash function on the rear view camera, which means that it can get covered in goop or grime or God knows what. And then you have to get out the car and wipe it with your finger. Unless, like me, you have a really helpful assistant that can do it for you. James, can you clean the camera for me? Oh, that looks good. See, that's a bit better, isn't it? Anyway, that brings us to 5 cool things about this car, because a bit like you can get on a Range Rover, you've got a rear view mirror that doubles as a camera. Look, there's beautiful James, my assistant. Hello, James. Say hello to everyone. That was such like a kids' TV presenter then. Hello, children. You okay? Today we're going to look through the round window. This rear armrest is bizarrely pleasing. So look at this. Pull this down. It's nice and big, feels very premium. But that's not the best bit. See, if I lift this up, we have this very soft padded area, which is ideal for your mobile phone. You won't scratch the screen. And you've got two USB-Cs there, so two people can charge at once. But the best bit is this, look. You've got your cup holders there, but they have this functionality. I can rotate them out like that, look. Ooh. Why would I want to do that? Well, look at these recessed areas, because then you can hold your mobile phone or tablet in them, if you want to be like that. Or maybe you want to be a bit more like that. Haha, that is clever. I like that a lot. You get adaptive cruise control with lane keeping assist as standard, and it works together with the Google Maps sat nav to automatically slow you down for a tight bend or a junction. Also, when you put in a destination into the sat nav, it'll work out the most optimal way to charge en route. So it won't just have you stop at one charging point and like charge it from 0 to full. It'll work out whether it's better for you to charge for 20 minutes at one stop and then 20 minutes at another, and so on and so forth, to get you to your destination as quickly and as easily as possible. It even takes into account the weather conditions and the temperature to work out a more accurate range. You have ISOFIX anchor points on the front passenger seat, which as a parent I love, because it means that you can have your child next to you when you're driving. I love the way that you have the sun blind actually built into the glass. So look, it's shaded at the moment, but if I press this, it's going to open. Watch it open. As it open halfway, and then I can open it the full length. Look at it. Ah, it's really cool. You can get the Renault Scenic with two battery sizes. There's a 60 kilowatt hour version, which has a range of up to 260 miles, and that comes with a 170 horsepower electric motor driving the front wheels. Then there's the 87 kilowatt hour battery pack, which will give you a range of up to 380 miles. And I'll be testing that out myself a bit later on. That has a slightly more high performance motor, once again, front wheel drive, but it puts out 217 horsepower. Woohoo! In terms of charging, well, they'll DC charge. The smaller battery will charge up to 130 kilowatts. The larger battery pack will charge up to 150 kilowatts. However, they both have AC charging of up to 22 kilowatts, which is really pretty quite good. Really pretty quite good. Really good. Pretty good really, or really very good. I'm not very good at English. I'm really very good, pretty much nice at English. Thank you, please. Now, the first thing you notice when you're driving the Renault Scenic is that the suspension feels quite soft and compliant over bumps. That is over bigger bumps. When you get imperfections or sharp little bumps, it sort of jitters about a little bit. It's not terrible, and it's actually quite common on electric cars. I don't know what it is with them. I think it's to do with the weight and the position of the batteries, but they do tend to feel a little bit jiggly at times, and this is no different. One thing that I do find quite annoying though are the brakes. So when you first press the pedal, it's very squidgy and smooth, and all of a sudden there's like this weird transition when the brakes are suddenly like absolutely fully on. It's really odd. I'm going to do that again. So just pressing, slightly slowing, and then you're like getting ABS. Nuts! Now, what's not nuts is the turning circle. It's pretty good, 10.9 meters, and I can quickly press this button here to get up the optional surround view cameras, which should help me get around here. And I've got these lines showing me exactly where I'm going to go. Oh, look at that! An old Triumph TR7. But look, I can see I'm easily going to miss it. The steering is very, very light at town speeds, which is good. Decent sized door mirrors, and you've got that extra little bit that like kind of bends your view, so it actually makes it look wider than the size of the mirror is. If that makes any form of sense at all, probably doesn't. Probably shouldn't have pulled out then, should have waited. Sorry. Yeah. Ooh, cringe. I could hide behind this pillar though, because it's a bit of a blind spot, so you couldn't see my awkwardness. Speaking of which, if you're out the back window, it's terrible. It's just like obscured by this central headrest. And the rear pillar is absolutely massive as well. I can see why you might need this at times. Yeah, and now I can see behind me, look. Don't know if you can hear this. The noise the car makes, I don't know whether it's just on the inside or it's on the outside to alert pedestrians, but it's a bit like that soothing kind of pipe music that you get in spas. It's making me feel strangely chilled, and I'm now forgetting about the jerky brakes. It's going away now, I'm going quicker. Oh, I'm quite enjoying that. I was getting all zen. I'm going to go slower. Let's go for full on autonomous driviness. Set it to 20. It's amazing that it's standard actually, the system. It's using the radar to keep me a safe distance from the car in front. Oh, I'm going too quick to hear the music. Lowest it'll go is 19. Well, I can alter the regen effect, which I'm doing now, to make the motor braking quite abrupt actually. It still always moves no full one pedal driving. It won't stop completely when you take your foot off the accelerator. At the other end of the scale though, you do have full coast. So now I've got no regen. So when I lift off, it pretty much just rolls. I use coast on the motorway, it's just more efficient. Would it do the intelligent thing? Well, it'll auto brake, so I don't crash into the car in front. Is it doing it? No, it won't. I've gone straight to the back of the Tesla. We're coming to a faster road now, so I'm going to just see what the pickup is like from 40 miles an hour. 3, 2, 1, go. Ooh, actually not bad. This is the more powerful version with the bigger battery. Yeah, it can get a move on. I mean, it's not lightning quick, but it's easily quick enough. Now that I'm motoring along at a bit of speed, get a bit of tyre noise, a bit of wind whistle from there. It's not quite as quiet as a Peugeot E3008. And to see my full in-depth video review of that car, click on the pop-out banner up there or follow the link in the description below. Now let's check out the energy efficiency. The trick computer says this thing is averaging 3.1 miles per kilowatt hour. But based on that number and the size of the battery, that means a rear world range of about 270 or so miles, whereas it's supposed to be about 380. So it's about 70% of claimed. Still, it's not that big a deal because the battery is so large that 270 miles is still fairly decent. Do you know what? I think I'm going to press my nonsense button to go into sports mode because here comes some fun corners. Let's see what this car handles like. Well, you can tell it's front wheel drive this when you accelerate out the bends because it does have quite a bit of pickup. You can feel it like struggling for traction on the front tyres. I can feel the suspension jiggling a bit over this slightly bumpy bit of road. Do some motoring journalism here, testing the car's handling. Actually grips the road really well. It stays reasonably flat through the bends as well. It's not that heavy for an electric car, just over 1.8 tons for this bigger battery. But the steering just feels odd. The first bit you turn it doesn't do anything. Then all of a sudden it's like turning like crazy. It's inconsistent. It's a bit like the brakes. They're a bit odd. They don't feel natural. It's like the car doesn't respond exactly as you imagine it will. You know when you like sometimes like lean on the sofa or something like that, where you're just like relaxing and then you get a dead arm, then you go to like scratch your face and you can't quite, you know, you're like that. Your arm isn't working properly. You've got to wait for the blood to circulate again until you can actually scratch exactly where you want to. This car's controls feels like that, like it's sort of numb. There's the brakes again. Look at that. Yeah, Renault, I think you need to work on that a little bit. This is not great. I'll tell you what also is not great. The seats, you sort of just like sit on them. They don't really grip you that well. They sort of remind me of the seats we used to have in our university common area where, you know, they were fine, you could sit on them, but you didn't find them that comfy that you'd want to stay in them for that long. And I think that was the idea. They wanted you to move on and not loiter in the common room. Renault says 0 to 62 mile an hour in this particular version of the Scenic should take 7.9 seconds, which is quite respectable. If it can really do those numbers. Let's find out. Specialist timing gear, left foot on the brake, full throttle. Let's go, one-handed, chilling. Feels fairly strong, you know. Not as strong as they said. 8.2 seconds to 62 miles an hour. It did sub 8 to 60 miles an hour. Let's try again without having my foot on the brake so much. So let's go again. Was that takeoff better? 2 hands on the wheel, maybe. Oh, bit of wheel spin there. 8.19 to 62. Let's go again. Let's go. I'm gonna brake boost again. Shut up. So sensitive on the old hazards. There we go. Oh, 8.02. 7.98. Close enough, isn't it? And 0 to 60, the best I had was 7.6. That's really weird that it's that much of a difference between 0 to 60 and 0 to 62. It's like almost half a second. Really costly 2 mile an hour. Anyhow, yeah, it's quick enough. So then, what's my final verdict on the new Renault Scenic? Should you avoid it, consider it, shortlist it, or just go right ahead and buy it? Well, I think you should consider the new Renault Scenic. Its range isn't quite as good as some of its key competitors, plus it feels a little bit weird to drive. However, it's reasonably priced for an electric car and it's quite spacious. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like. If you want to watch some more videos, click on the windows, and of course you can click on the carwow logo to find out the best deals on the latest electric cars. Thanks for watching. Go on, just put it all back together. We're making James put it all back together again because he dismantled it. But you were wondering why I needed him to do all this, is because I couldn't be bothered to do that. James is on work experience. If you'd like to have work experience at Carwow, then contact, I'd like some work experience please, thank you very much. I don't mind working with Matt at carwow.co.uk.